My name is Sandra Feder, and I'm the author of this book, Bitter and Sweet, which I'm really excited to share with you today. I think it has some nice messages for this kind of strange and uncertain time that we're all finding ourselves in. And I hope you'll enjoy hearing the story. I had the pleasure of working on it with the wonderful illustrator, Kirsten Brooker, and I'm reading it to you today with the permission of our publisher, Groundwood Books. So here's Bitter and Sweet, and then we can talk about it a little bit afterwards. Hannah didn't want to move. She loved her house with the wide porch, her neighborhood with the flat streets that were perfect for bike riding, and her school with all her friends. But her father had a job in a new town. Almost every change has some hard parts and some nice parts, her grandmother said when Hannah called to tell her the news. I was scared when my family left the old country, but we made a new life, and I made new friends. Definitely some bitter, but even more sweet. Hannah tried to think about the good things that the move might bring. She tried, like her grandmother, to think of sweetness, but as her family prepared to leave, she could only feel the bitter. She cried salty tears when she hugged her friends goodbye and when her teacher took all her artwork down from the classroom walls. Her tummy felt tight as she helped her parents pack up her room and as she saw the boxes put onto the big truck. Some bitter, but even more sweet, she heard her grandmother saying. Grandma must be wrong, Hannah thought, as she watched the town where she was born disappear from sight. There's nothing sweet about leaving everything I know. Soon the family was in their new home in their new town. Hannah's bed didn't fit neatly by the window. Her artwork looked lonely on the walls. The new house was on a hill, which was not easy for bike riding, and the porch was smaller. Only the bitter, Hannah thought. When their first week neared its end, Hannah watched her mother light the Shabbat candles. She was surprised by how nice the house looked in the soft light. As she tasted the sweet grape juice, she remembered her grandmother's words, some bitter and some sweet. But still, Hannah wondered whether she would ever feel the sweet the same way she had before. The next morning, there was a knock on the door. A girl who appeared to be about Hannah's age stood on the narrow porch holding a small bag. Hi, I'm Maya, she said, handing Hannah the bag. I live down the street. Hannah looked inside and saw cocoa powder. It makes the best hot chocolate, Maya promised as she waved goodbye. Thank you, Hannah called, feeling better than she had in a long time as she watched Maya head home. Hannah went inside to heat up some milk. She carefully added a tablespoon of cocoa powder and stirred until the mixture was silky smooth. Then she took a big, rich sip. Patooey! The brown liquid flew out of her mouth. It's bitter, Hannah cried, just like everything else. The next day at school, Hannah tried to avoid Maya, but at recess, Maya ran right up to her. I forgot to tell you, Maya said. You have to add sugar to the cocoa. Otherwise, it's bitter, said Hannah, finishing Maya's sentence. Hannah raced home after school to try again. She heated the milk and added the cocoa, but this time she also put in a big, heaping tablespoon of sugar. Mmm, she said, taking a sip. It wasn't bitter anymore, but still something was missing. Hannah looked out the window. She ran out the door, biked down the hill, and knocked on Maya's door. Want to come over for hot cocoa? She asked. Sure, Maya replied. Let's drink it on your porch. You have such a nice one. That night, Hannah called her grandmother. I thought it was only bitter here, Hannah said. And did you find the sweet? Her grandmother asked. Oh, Grandma, Hannah said, you can't just find it, you have to add it yourself. And that's the end of the story, Bitter and Sweet. I really hope you enjoyed it. And I hope one of the things that stays with you from the story is that everybody and every life contains some bitter and some sweet, some harder parts and some sweeter parts. I know right now all of us are facing some harder parts. We miss school, we miss our friends, we miss seeing all our relatives. And one thing Hannah found to be helpful in the story is talking to her grandmother about the harder things that her grandmother had faced in her own life. So now might be a nice time to reach out to older relatives to find out what things were challenges for them. It's also a great reminder that even in the midst of some hard parts, everybody can still find moments of sweetness. And Hannah learns that sometimes those things just come to you in the way of friends, like Maya. She makes a new friend. But sometimes you have to work at it a little bit to find the moments of sweet and to add the sweetness yourself. So at this time, when everybody is going through some harder, more bitter parts, I hope that you will be part of finding some sweet moments with your family and in whatever ways you can to make your time at home a little sweeter, to bring a little more sweetness into other people's lives. And I wish you all the happiness and sweetness that you can find. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.